Hey guys, Mike Siciliano here, and you are consuming another episode of Self Boss Marketing Tips. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to go over what a brand guide is and the benefits of having a brand guide for your business. So a brand guide, it outlines your brand as a whole, from mission statement to assets to design, to imagery, and so much more. Now, brand guides can go as deep as you need them to. So you can have a brand guide that's 9 pages, or you can have a brand guide that's 220 pages. For my viewers on this episode, I recommend anywhere from 9 to 20 pages. Should be adequate to fit in the content of these 6 surface level brand guide requirements that every brand guide should have, even for small startups. As you get to the enterprise level, each of these 6 components becomes more specific. They get more granular, and the guidelines become more strict, because maintaining brand consistency for a large organization that has hundreds of hands touching the identity of the brand and the brand assets, it gets very difficult to make sure that the brand remains consistent across multiple channels. And the same goes for my startups and my SMBs out there, my small businesses. It is critical to your brand identity, to your brand recognition, to your brand awareness, to have a consistent image across multiple channels from print to web. So let's just dive right in here. An introduction to your brand, a summary about your brand, and a mission statement. So it's important for anyone that's reading the brand guide to understand the core of your business. They need to understand the fundamentals of your business, the culture, the philosophy. It's important for anyone touching this brand guide who is going to be projecting your brand across multiple channels for them to understand your brand's identity to the fullest. So a brand intro, a summary, or a mission statement is critical to have in this brand guide. Next, a logo outline. You want to have a presentation of your logo, and you want to have the different variations of your logo that are allowed to be used in marketing and in company collateral. So you're going to outline the usage of this logo by presenting do's and don'ts. Some examples of do's: having a white logo on a black background. That is a do, because there's contrast and the logo will stand out. However, if your logo has a particular color in it, let's say it's dark gray combined with white, then a black background isn't going to look good behind it. It's not going to contrast, it's not going to pop. So that would be a don't. And it will not broadcast a professional experience that your brand needs to be taken serious. Another don't for a brand, it could be having the image of the logo with text underneath it, separating the text from the image and placing it next to the actual logo piece. It might look awkward. You don't want to break the integrity of your logo. If you break the integrity of the logo, then that brand inconsistency across multiple channels is going to affect your brand awareness. A user might see a logo that's not within your brand guide, and they won't identify it with your brand, which means any sort of marketing spend to push this logo out to the public is being wasted. Your logo outline can include size restrictions. It can include color restrictions. It can include drop shadow restrictions. Again, anything that breaks the integrity of the logo itself and will affect brand consistency and, as a result, brand awareness, you want to include in this outline and logo usage section of the brand guide. So let's move on to color palette. Number 3 here. So you have a logo and you have colors that are in the logo. These are going to be your brand's primary colors. So the brand's primary colors usually tend to stay around the 3 to 4 range. For example, Haystack's brand colors are white, light blue, gray, and black. And we don't stray from that. Now, our secondary colors, you might have seen them out there: lime green, a hot pink, and a purple. The Haystack brand guide allows you to use these color variations grouped together to help maintain our brand consistency. Now, this color palette section is very important not only for digital, but for the print side of your business. If anyone is going to be producing printed material for your business, you want to make sure that you have not only the hex codes, not only the RGBA codes, you want to have the CMYK colors as well, so that a printing company can reference these and get the colors for your brand exact anytime, regardless of who the printing company is. Now, one thing that I have up here, Pantones. Pantones are great if you have any sort of package design for your company. If you have a professional printing company that's utilizing Pantones, Pantones are an exact color. There is a Pantone book and a wide variety of companies reference this book. And because it is a central source of truth for the vibrance of these colors, for the colors themselves, if you invest in figuring out your brand's Pantones, it will remain consistent regardless of who has their hands on your brand. So again, it's not only RGBA for digital, it's CMYK for print, it's Pantone for print. You wanna make sure that you have these colors identified, and you wanna make sure that you have these colors grouped correctly in your brand guide, regardless of whether you're a startup or a mid to enterprise level business. Brand consistency is the core fundamental component to portraying a professional image to the public. So let's go ahead and move on to typography. Your typography section is going to reference the specific fonts that are associated to your brand. So if your brand is only using Open Sans for headlines and Helvetica for subheadlines, then it's important to put that in this section of your brand guide so that it can be referenced by anyone who is producing collateral for your company. Now, typography can be vague. Typography can identify only using a serif versus a sans serif for your brand. Whatever you're going to need to create a wholesome brand identity in the typography department is what you're going to put into this section. So this can be broken down to web, print, collateral. You can get as granular as you need to make sure that the consistency of your brand image is not broken. Let's go ahead and move on to imagery here. Number 5. So is your brand more of a fun cartoon type of brand where you're only using vectors in your marketing collateral, in your print collateral? Are you flat? Are you 2D? Or does lifestyle photography and outdoors photography align with your brand image the best? So again, the imagery section of your brand guide can get as granular as you need it to be. It can identify that someone is only to use outdoor lifestyle photography for your brand. It can identify that someone is only to use vectors and shapes without opacity on them for your brand. It can identify specific filters that are supposed to be used for your brand, and those filters only are allowed to be used. I can tell you that Ari is in charge of the imagery department for Better Baby, and she really only accepts outdoor photography to post on her social media accounts. So that is in the imagery section of Better Baby's brand guide. Okay, so lastly, brand collateral. This can be anything from business cards to letterhead to pens to mugs. Your brand guide can mock up some of these items and list out the do's and don'ts for each of these items. And brand collateral doesn't have to be physical. It doesn't have to be something that you hold in your hand. It could also be digital. Your brand collateral could be an email template that you use for email blasts to keep your brand consistent across multiple channels. So guys, something as simple as a brand guide, I can't tell you how easy it is to make. If you're a mid to enterprise level business and you've made it this far in this video, contact haystackmarketing.com. We have a wonderful portfolio of brand guides that we put together. Again, brand guides can be anywhere from 9 pages to 220 pages. It just depends on how big your company is, how specific and how consistent you'd like your brand to remain through digital and print collateral. But I will say on a personal note, guys, brand consistency fosters professionalism. When somebody sees your brand, if somebody is landing on your website, if somebody's handed a piece of collateral from you or someone from your marketing team, it's important that your brand looks professional. Because the moment your brand doesn't look professional, you lose the connection with your potential customer and you lose the connection with those users. So please, if you haven't already, go ahead and invest in a brand guide. Contact haystackmarketing.com. As I mentioned, we'll take care of it for you. So that's it for today's tips, guys. Self-Boss Marketing Tips. I'm Mike Siciliano. Please subscribe to the channel, share it, write comments. I love to talk. I love to talk marketing. I'll write you back. And until next time, keep pushing, guys. Keep learning every day. Thanks.